In the Noto Peninsula, on the northwestern coast of Japan, where the Sea of Japan sends cold fog rolling over the hills each morning, there lived a man named Katsuro Miyabe. He was 71 years old. He had no great fame, no published books, no students who traveled far to sit at his feet. He was, by all accounts of the small village of Wajima, simply a gardener. Every morning, in rain, in silence, in the gray half-light before sunrise, Katsuro rose at 4:45. He did not need an alarm. His body had learned the hour the way water learns the shape of a riverbed. Slowly, over decades, he would first sit for 7 minutes on the edge of his wooden floor, feet not yet touching the cold ground. He would breathe, only breathe, not to empty his mind. He was not a man given to grand spiritual ideas. He breathed simply because he believed the body needed to remember it was alive before asking it to work. Then he would dress, slowly, each movement deliberate, as if clothing himself were itself a ceremony. And then he would go outside, into the garden. Katsuro's garden was not extraordinary. Visitors, when they came, would sometimes expect the manicured perfection of a temple garden, the raked sand, the precise stones, the compositions that look eternal. But Katsuro's garden was quieter than that, more patient. It held the kind of beauty that does not announce itself. You had to stay long enough for your eyes to slow down. There was a moss-covered stone near the northeastern corner that he had placed at age 34. It had taken him 11 years to find the right position for it. 11 years of moving it a few centimeters at a time, stepping back, looking again. His wife had once laughed and said he treated the stone as if it had feelings. He had nodded seriously and said, "Perhaps it does. Perhaps we simply cannot hear them yet." There were 2 plum trees, gnarled and ancient, that he had planted when his son was born. His son had since moved to Osaka, married, had children of his own. The plum trees still bloomed each February, without fail, without urgency. There was a narrow stone path that led nowhere in particular, only to a small wooden bench beneath an overhang, where Katsuro would sometimes sit in the rain and watch the water beat on the broad leaves of the hostas. He would sit there for a long time, doing nothing, appearing to do nothing. But this was perhaps the most important part of his practice. What you would not know, looking at Katsuro from the outside, was that he had once been a man eaten by urgency. In his younger years, his 20s and 30s, he had carried a weight that many men carry silently. The belief that time was escaping him, that he should already be further along, that something was wrong with his pace, his output, his life. He had started the garden at age 29 as a way to do something, to produce something, to show the evidence of himself on the world. He read books about design. He drew careful plans. He bought expensive tools. And for years, the garden looked like the work of someone trying too hard. The plants were placed too perfectly. The angles were too deliberate. There was no breathing room for the plants or for the man who tended them. He could not understand why it felt empty. The change came, as most real changes do, quietly. He was 43. A summer drought had killed several plants he had worked years to cultivate. He stood among the dry beds and felt something break open inside him. Not dramatically, not with tears or rage, just a long, tired exhale. The kind that carries with it the slow surrender of a wrong idea. He realized, standing there in the heat, that he had been gardening against time, racing it, trying to impose his own schedule on things that had never agreed to it. After that summer, Katsuro changed the way he worked. He stopped planning the garden as a whole. He began tending only what was in front of him, that morning, that hour. One plant, one decision, then another. He stopped measuring the garden against an image he held in his mind of what it should become. Instead, he began asking a different question each morning as he walked through it. What does this place need today? Not tomorrow, not in 5 years, today. This sounds simple. It is not. It requires a discipline that runs against nearly everything modern life teaches us. Modern life teaches urgency. Modern life teaches that ambition and acceleration are the same thing. That wanting something deeply means moving toward it as fast as possible. But Katsuro had learned, slowly, through soil and drought and 40 years of early mornings, that there is another kind of movement, the movement of deep roots. You cannot see it. You cannot rush it. You can only create the conditions for it, and then trust. He began to understand that consistency is not the same as speed. A plant watered faithfully every morning does not grow because of this morning's water. It grows because of 10,000 mornings of water accumulated quietly in the dark beneath the surface. The same, he believed, was true of a person. In the village, people thought of Katsuro as patient, but he was something more precise than patient. Patience implies waiting for something, enduring time until a reward arrives. Katsuro had moved beyond patience. He had reached a place where the tending was the reward. The morning walk through the garden, the quiet assessment, the small corrections. This was not the path to something. This was the thing itself. He once said to his neighbor's son, a young man anxious about his career, "You are waiting for your life to become clear so you can finally live it. But the life is the waiting. The life is the morning, not the arrival." The young man nodded politely, as young men do, not yet understanding. Katsuro did not mind. He had once been that young man. We live now in a world that has made a religion of results. We track our habits in apps. We optimize our sleep. We measure progress in metrics and milestones. We want to know, before we have even begun, whether what we are doing is working. And this hunger for proof, this need to see growth immediately, quietly destroys more things than we realize. Relationships we abandon before they deepen. Skills we drop before our hands have learned them. Practices we discard because the early weeks produce no visible fruit. Katsuro's garden teaches something that psychology has begun to confirm, slowly, with its own language. The most meaningful transformations are mostly invisible for a very long time. The neural pathways that form through consistent practice, the trust that builds through repeated small honesty, the artistry that emerges only after years of humble repetition. None of these announce themselves early. They arrive the way spring arrives in Noto, not dramatically, not all at once. But one morning you step outside and notice that the moss on the stone has deepened in color, that the plum tree has put out more blossoms than last year, that the garden, without your forcing it, has become more itself. And you realize that the gardener's highest skill is not skill at all. It is faith. A quiet, unseeing, undramatic faith in time. Katsuro died in early March, at age 71, on a morning after a night of heavy rain. His garden was found by his neighbor as it always was, tended, quiet, exhaling the particular peace of something long cared for. The stone was in its place. The plum trees were in bloom. He had left no grand teaching, no final words of wisdom written down. Only the garden itself, which continued quietly being what it had always been. And perhaps that was the final lesson he left behind, that a life lived with patience and presence needs no monument. It simply is, like a garden in the rain, like a candle in a wooden room, like the moss on a stone that has been listened to for 40 years, calm, rooted, still becoming. The man who trusts time more than talent does not move slowly. He moves deeply. On Katsuro Miyabe, gardener of Wajima.